to Sunday. Last week we discussed Laid to Rest. Now we will be discussing Laid to Rest 2 Chromeskull. Kind of like how Rambo 2 was First Blood Part 2, Rambo. Similar title thing going on here. So this movie tells the story about Chromeskull he's recovering from his wounds. They bring him back to life somehow, miracle surgery, and he just stalks a new victim, and they kind of expand on this little organization that he's working with. He's the boss, and there's not too much story. It's basically that he's just stalking this new victim who's legally blind, and the victim Tommy from the first movie is the star of this one also, and he's trying to help the cops figure out where this guy is, who he works for, blah blah blah. So it's like an investigative movie and a slasher movie together. So let's get into the things that I like about this one over the first one. Is that this one has a better final girl when it comes to acting and just overall. If you watch my other review, I'll leave a link. I hated the main girl in that movie who wakes up with amnesia. Her acting is awful. But this girl, mainly just her, she is the best actress in this film. She actually gives a good performance. So therefore, I liked her better. So at least this has a final girl who doesn't make me want to slip my wrists when I'm watching the movie. And overall, I was okay with the movie. I've seen this a few times before. This came out like in 2011. I saw it back then, and at that time I really liked the first one. Now I don't. And I liked this one back then too, and I still think it's okay. It's a fine movie. It has good gore in it, just like the first one. This is made by a special effects guy, Robert Hall. He wrote and directed this one, just like the first one. I think his writing isn't as bad as it was in the first one. The dialogue's still not that good, but there's not dumb decisions left and right that make you roll your eyes and want to throw popcorn at the screen. So I think the writing and directing is a slight step up from the first one. I'm still not a huge fan of this style of his, but you got Danielle Harris, so we got horror alumni in here, so she automatically makes this movie better than the first one, just seeing her here. I like that they expand on the character of Chromeskull. He's a little bit better in this movie. The performance by Nick Principe, I'm not sure how you say his name, but he's like 6'7". He's tall. He's menacing. He's a little bit more badass in this one. They give him more to work with, so they really make his character bigger and meaner in this one. The kills are more vicious, and like I said, the gore is fantastic here and there, and there's some CGI enhancements, but it doesn't get in the way too much. And the effects on his face during the beginning, like when he's being, having surgery and they're fixing him up, great stuff. Kind of reminded me of like the opening of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, except a whole new level of gore, and like his face is mutilated. So the effects are great, and the gore. Continuity, this actually picks up like right after the first one, like almost the same frame. They kind of have to reshoot it because they're using a different actress, which I don't mind having a different actress play this girl from the first movie because, like I said, I hated that actress. And automatically, this replacement, who's only in here for a few minutes, is miles better. She can actually cry on cue, unlike the other chick who never cried at all. So, it's got that, and I like that this movie does something a little bit different. It's not like a whole different story, but it has this detective angle, and although it's not really intriguing or anything, because it's just not, it's at least different. So you got a whole different story going on while you still get the Chromeskull killings at the same time. So it doesn't feel like the same movie 100% being done all over again, like a Friday the 13th sequel. It's a little bit different. Not a whole lot, but at least they did something a little different. So I'll give them credit for that. And that's really about it. So the negatives for this movie is the acting from a lot of people in this movie, especially Brian Austin Green's character. I don't know if it's just the dialogue he was given, but a lot of his lines just came off hokey and cheesy. Maybe it's just the actor. I'm not familiar with him, what he's done, but this guy just gave a weird, hammy performance. He's like this wannabe character who just wants to be the next Chromeskull. He wants to, impress his boss, but he pisses him off left and right, and he ends up getting himself fired. He's like the most interesting character, and it just sucks that he's like one of the worst acted characters at the same time. The pace is definitely slower. It takes a while after Chromeskull gets resurrected to actually start killing again. He takes a back seat for a while. Meanwhile, you got the wannabe guy kind of doing the work for him. But yeah, it definitely has a little bit of a slower pace. Not too slow, but I kind of noticed it this time. There's not too much Chromeskull. Mainly, it's like the third act when Chromeskull like ups the body count. This movie does have a higher body count than the first one. And there, like I said earlier, also, the CGI enhancements. There's a couple of kills in here that are like 50-50 practical CGI mixed together, and you can see it, and it kind of takes you out of the moment. And the story behind this organization is not fleshed out at all. You don't know how the hell this place even operates. Like, who are all these people? How are they getting their money? Who's funding them? What purpose do they serve? Why are there these welders and Chromeskull making people? And like, are they paying hush money to the feds? How are they getting away with all this shit? How many places do they have? I mean, some people might like the mystery, but to me, I'm just like, this isn't grounded no more. Like the first movie, they're trying to expand it, Chromeskull's character so much to where it's not grounded no more. It's like, there's no way that they're getting away with all this shit. Do they also make caskets? They always have a stockpile of them, all these coffins, and it's like, why are they filming these people? How do they have this amazing staff of surgeons that can bring back people whose faces were complete mush? It makes no sense. Like, you have to stretch disbelief quite a bit just to get past the opening of this film. So yeah, I just wish they would have really just expanded on the organization. That's more interesting. The mystery of who they are and how they work. Who's really in charge? Is it really just Chromeskull? How did he get to that position? Like, I want to know about that. That's what's interesting to me, and they don't really touch based on it at all. They don't expand as much as they should have. They just keep it a mystery, but it doesn't make sense. So final thoughts, I think this movie is definitely a step up from the first one. If you love the first one, I think you'll love this one even more. But if you hate the first one, consider giving this one a shot because it is slightly better. In the kills department, the acting from a couple people is better. I mean, I thought the acting overall in part one was just shit, but there's a couple of good people in this one at least. So when it comes to Chromeskull Laid to Rest Part 2, consider streaming it, borrowing it from a friend, or renting it at Redbox. So this movie opens up with like a cleanup crew, kind of like in the John Wick universe. We got a cleanup crew cleaning up his mess. They pick up his body, they drag him off, and they somehow bring him back to life. And meanwhile, I like how there's this new actress, but they kind of reuse footage from the first movie, but they have to like crop out the other actress, so it's just Fred Dekker's character, or whatever his name, not Fred Dekker, Thomas Dekker, the guy from the other movie, and like Nightmare on Elm Street, he's back in here. But it's just obvious, like they're cropping her out, and then like they're shooting from a different angle. And so, yeah, that was kind of weird, and it made me laugh. So we got a new actress playing her, and she's much better, but we only get to see her for like 2 minutes, and then we see her boobs, and she takes a shower, cleans. She's gonna have a clean slate and start a new life, but then it just stops right there. Guy chases her down, somehow finds out where she's living. He gives her like a Joker smile, like he slices her mouth wide open. He should have said, "Why so serious?" And then guts her like a pig, and then shows his boss, like, "Look what I did," and the boss ain't happy. And we got Danielle Harris, who's like trying to get the other guy fired. I think like there's like this beef between Brian Austin Green and Danielle Harris, and she's like trying to pull the strings herself. Then we see a little bit of Chromeskull's childhood. We get like this little flashback while he's getting surgery of him as a child and his dad his dad was like a mortician, and he's like trying to get him to touch the dead bodies. It's very weird, it's very quick, and they don't explore that past that scene. It's very quick. And then we meet the main girl in this movie, the final girl, the blind girl, and why she has to be blind. They don't play around with that too much. Like, she seems to get around decent enough in the end, being blind, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, the whole place is pitch black. Like, in the third act, for the most part, she's running around rooms that are pitch black, so blind or not blind, it doesn't matter. And they don't flesh her character out at all. Like, you don't really know her too much. You just know that she's blind. I can kind of relate. I'm legally blind in one eye, too. So, yeah, so you don't really root for her that much, which is kind of a shame. They should have explored her character more. And then she gets medical marijuana. Her and her punk rock friend are hanging out, and she goes down to get popcorn, and then I guess Chromeskull has a rusty throw now, because it's like 3 months later, throws the knife, hits her like barely, it like gets right next to her ear, in the skin's like barely in there, it looks gnarly, and he's like struggling to get it out, and like rips the side of her face wide open, like just all the skin falls off. Very vicious and just creative as fuck. Like, I've never seen something like that before. And even though it's 3 months later, Dekker's character, Tommy, I think that's his name, I'll call him Tommy. Tommy, he went from having a clean-shaved head, like buzz cut, like you know what a buzz cut is, right? It's like 0 inches. It's practically bald. It's like there's bald, and then there's what this guy had, which I think is just like a buzz cut, and then it's 3 months later, and his hair is very long. Like, he's got like bangs going all the way down his face. Like, his hair grew pretty goddamn quick. And then this British chick gets killed. He like stabs her right in the gut. He like saws all the way up her. Kind of reminded me of the nurse in the final chapter, Friday the 13th. Except we actually get to see a lot more this time. He throws her up against the mirror. It's all one shot. They actually use twins to make this little illusion work. So her chest is just ripped open. Awesome. Yeah, then he like stabs her right in the mouth. So this police station sucks. Like, their surveillance, like, they don't have anybody there to protect this guy. They're a key witness, really. The guy just walks in with no mask and just takes him out easy peasy. It's like the world's easiest police station to break into and go kidnap people. And then I like how even later on, even though he has that surveillance footage where you actually get to see Brian Austin Green's character's face full on. Later on, he's on the phone with Tommy, and he's like, "Can you give me a description of the guy who kidnapped you? You have the footage." So dumb. That's some bad writing right there. And then, like, who killed the British chick? Was it the wannabe guy, or was it Chromeskull? Because there was no scars on the face, and he was bald, so it couldn't be Brian Austin Green, because he had full hair at that point, and the other guy, like I said, he has a scarred face, Chromeskull, and it wasn't him, so who the fuck was it? And why didn't the cop who's played by the special effects artist in Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, the cop who gets his head turned into a jack-o'-lantern, he's in here, why didn't he go investigate the room when the British chick got killed? Like, Tommy comes running out, he looks like he's panicked, he's hyperventilating, he's like, "My roommate, she didn't answer the door." It's like, why wouldn't that cop be like, "Well, maybe I should go check it out"? Because after all, there is a murder on the loose that we're trying to capture and investigate right now. Why wouldn't you go in there? He's like, "Oh, maybe she just went out for food." Like, don't excuse it, you dumbass. Go in there and do your goddamn job. So, and then we get this new weapon. The Bowie knife from the first one was the iconic weapon, but in this one we get a new weapon. It's like 5 Bowie knives. It's like a ninja star Bowie knife that he like throws at that one cop, but he misses, and he pushes her head on top of the blade and like goes up in her mouth and like chops her head in half from the mouth up. Awesome kill. Some CGI enhancements, but still very creative. And then the blind girl, she wakes up in the coffin. It's very reminiscent of part 1, how that movie opens, and we get this bad dialogue between Brian Austin Green's character and her, and he's just like trying to explain, what he goes to explain what Chromeskull does, but we don't actually get to hear it. He just whispers it to her, and I'm dying to know what it is. Like, you want to know what he does to his victims, besides videotape them? It's like, yes, I do. What does he do? But then he gets fired, and that sets him off. So he goes and gets a tattoo, and that's actually footage of the tattoo being applied to the actor who plays Chromeskull. And he shaves his head, so he's like imitating Chromeskull. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. And So basically, it's like, fuck you. You fired me. I'm going to take over. I'm going to be the new Chromeskull. So then they go and they hide in this big old cage of weapons. There's literally a sea of knives and all kinds of awesome tools that they could use against Chromeskull, but they just pick up bats. One of them has it's like a nail bat, but still, like, you could have picked a better weapon. And then these buddy cops, they come in and they get killed immediately. One guy gets the Bowie star knife to the head, and the other one gets killed by the real Chromeskull, and his kill is probably the best. He gets the knife through the back of the head, out the mouth, and then he gets lifted off the ground, and he starts sawing his head in half from the mouth up, and his head just splits open, hits the ground. Awesome. Reminds me of something like in Dark Ride, that After Dark Horror Fest 8 Films to Die For series, whatever that was called. Very reminiscent of that. And that was before this movie. So, yeah, they're in that cage, and Brian Austin Green's character, he comes and he tries to attack them. Why he's still just chilling there, like not even worried about the real Chromeskull coming to get him. Like, he's been fired, and like he's just talking shit about Chromeskull throughout most of the movie, and he's just seems to be unaware that they have bugs in that whole place. Like, he should know that he's on camera and that they're listening, but yeah, he's still always talking shit. He's revealing secrets to the blind girl about what he does. He's still just lurking around. It's like, you're gonna get killed. You should be more afraid and, defensive. He gets taken out very easily. I wish there would have been a little bit more of a battle between, old Chromeskull, OG Chromeskull versus this wannabe Chromeskull. But he just gets taken out like a little bitch. He starts begging for his life. Please don't kill me, mister, please. And just teach me what you do. It's like, there's not much to teach. He just fucking slays people. He stabs them. He just throws knives. Like, anybody can do that. There's not much to teach. I'm not sure what the fuck he meant by that. Teach me what you do, master. Teach me. And then he just gets beheaded. Like, he just strings him up like an animal. Starts slicing at his throat with both knives, and his head just comes clean off. Some CGI enhancements there also. But then Chromeskull picks up that guy's weapon, and he starts slashing at the cage, and sparks are flying everywhere. The lights are off, so they can't see, but he has night vision. I'm not sure how Chromeskull can see. Like, the night vision's over here. It's not like he's looking through that. He can see perfectly, but they can't. And it's just funny because, like, as the audience, you can see almost everything, but they act like it's pitch black and they can't see, like, their own hand in front of their face. Here's one moment of lazy writing to me, is just how they don't attack this asshole with all those weapons around them. Like, he's trying to crawl into the cage, and there's all these weapons on the wall above him that they can use and just fucking, like, stab him a bunch, but instead they just try to run away like idiots. And then even, like, later on, it has one of those tropes that is in every freaking slasher, and that is the victim stabbing the bad guy in the shoulder. Like, he jumps up on his back and starts stabbing him, like, the back of the shoulder blade, like, 5 times. It's like, really? You think that's gonna kill him? I mean, the fucker took a baseball bat to the face that was melted, like, by acid, and you think that's gonna kill him? You're stupid. Like, you should stab him in the back of the brain over and over and over again. But instead, in these movies, they always have these dumbass protagonists stab them in the shoulder every single time. And then these 3 cops come by, and they get taken out very quickly because they're stupid. But it's kind of awesome just to see Chromeskull slay them the way he does. It just makes him look more badass, but it's still kind of dumb the way it happens. Like, they couldn't get one shot at him, really. He slits the guy's throat, and the blood sprays into the other cop's face, so he's blinded, and he throws the one guy who got his throat slit at the other cop, who misses his shot, and he gets hit by the other cop so hard that he flies back, and his arms both get hit by meat hooks, so now he's unable to use his gun anymore. Convenient, right? Because Chromeskull somehow choreographed that so perfectly. Like, that's what he wanted. It's like, bullshit. That would, 1 in a million, that would happen. And then, while the other guy's blinded by blood, he just slams his head into the table that has, like, a hatchet sticking up, so that kills him. So it's just very lucky of Chromeskull. Chromeskull got very lucky, and then he takes this long-ass machete, like, saw hybrids, like a saw blade and a machete combined. It's something weird. It's like some kind of Arabian sword or some shit out of Aladdin. I don't know what the fuck that thing is. And he just slices his throat wide open. And then what else happens? Okay, so yeah, this chick breaks the camera that he likes to use to film people, and when she breaks it, she's like, "You can't kill me now." But it's like, you didn't break the tape within the camera, so technically he could still kill you, and he's got one already on his shoulder. He's got a camera right there still filming. He can still kill you. Like, I'm not sure what the fuck she was thinking. Oh, I broke the camera, now you can't kill me. So then Chromeskull kills these other cops. He like stabs the one cop who's played by that one dude in the Belko experiment. But I don't think he dies. He like stabs him, but then he stabs the other guy, drags him into the other room, and we get like this Jason X kill, except it's like chrome. He like gets his face chrome plated, like his face starts to like peel away. And he takes his head and bashes it on the tub, the side of the sink or whatever. Awesome kill. Then we get a face reveal, and he looks like Cropsy in The Burning. And she even does light his face on fire at one point. But his face is kind of reminiscent of Cropsy, except not burnt, just all scarred as hell. And he gets shot 6 times again. Except this time, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. So he learned his lesson from the first movie. And because he's wearing a vest, evil lives on. He crawls away from his wounds and moves away to Hollywood, I think. I think it's Hollywood or Las Vegas or wherever the fuck he is. That sets up the third movie, but we haven't gotten that movie yet. It's been like 8 years now. There is like a Indiegogo GoFundMe page where you can donate money, and if you donate a lot of money, you can actually die in the movie and star in it for a little bit. But it's probably like a $50,000 thing, like if you donate that much money, but who has that money? I mean, seriously. So that's the end of the movie, and let's go over my awards. The best character in this movie is honestly just Jess. She's the best actress, and I feel bad for her, I guess. There's not a whole lot of good characters in this movie. And the Mr. Hanky Award for Worst Actor to me is Brian Austin Green's character. I don't know his name, I wish I wrote it down, but just was not a fan of his performance. And the hottest chick in this movie is Jess, the blind girl. And the Clap Award for Best Scene will be when Chromeskull is attacking Tommy and the blind chick Jess in the cage. And the Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill will go to the face split kill. I'm not sure who this cop's name is, but when he gets his face split open, it made my jaw drop. It is spectacular. And the worst kill in this movie, I guess, is Tommy, if he does die. And those are my thoughts on Laid to Rest Part 2, Chromeskull. Put all your thoughts of this movie in the comments below. Have you even seen it yet? Some people haven't even heard the first one. Check them out if you're a gorehound, but if you're not, there's nothing to be gained from these movies, because they're not that great. But yeah, you've heard all my thoughts, so why am I still talking? Put your thoughts of this movie in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button, share it with all your friends, become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month to request movie reviews, and you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.